Are we getting next-gen testicles?
They are still present, yes.
Hello, welcome to Outside Xbox and the first gameplay footage of Sniper Elite 3 Africa, the sequel to that game where you could blow Hitler's nuts off. It's coming to both generations of console later in 2014 and brings with it all the fun of shooting a man in the eyeball, though none of the lying for 3 days in a puddle of your own urine. I mean, you can still do that if you like. It's a free country. As with Sniper Elite and Sniper Elite V2, it's set in World War II, but the third game transplants the action to the North African campaign and, in the process, opens up the maps to 3 times the size of the previous game. This particular area is Hellfire Pass, which in the real war was passed back and forth between the Allies and Germans like the proverbial duchy. Still, aren't people just going to assume it's all vast, empty deserts? We asked Head of Art, Chris Payton.
Probably the big challenge, I guess, with the North African campaign is the assumption that everyone thinks it's just a desert. It really isn't. There's lots of really interesting locales. There are lots of towns and villages and sort of escarpments up on mountainsides and things like that. So yeah, we're really keen to keep it interesting and fresh and not get bogged down in what might be stereotypical desert.
Unlike Sniper Elite V2, this time it's all about freedom of choice. You'll obviously want to remain stealthy for as long as possible. That sniper rifle's not a great deal of use at short range, but there'll be various routes and ways to achieve your objectives. And if you do cock things up, as long as you can kill everyone who saw or heard you, you can slink right back into the shadows and relocate to a new sniper nest.
In a lot of games, the lighting is just a sort of decorative effect. In this game, it's actually part of the sort of game mechanics and stuff. How did that affect the way you approached it?
You know, it makes it more difficult because, yeah, in typical games, as you say, you know, we're just adding lighting and we're just trying to go for aesthetics. But here, when the player moves into shadow, it actually makes you more concealed against the enemy AI. So we find ourselves trying to get more shadow in, and specifically in areas where the player can actually use that to gameplay benefits.
In addition to your visibility, which is tracked in the bottom left corner next to the heart rate, you'll have to worry about being heard. Sabotage a generator, though, for example, and the sound of its backfiring motor can mask the crack of your sniper shots. Anyway, this is all well and good, but what you're really here for is to find out about those next-gen X-ray kills, aren't you? You sick puppy.
Obviously, it's the more grisly element of the game, but a lot of people remember the X-ray kills from Sniper Elite V2. What have you done to make them even more disgusting?
To make them even better, yeah. So we've the X-ray kill cam, as you say, from V2, yeah, got us a lot of press. There was a lot of YouTube coverage from that. And that had 3 layers, if you like. There was the actual character artwork, and then there was a skeleton, and then there were the internal organs. So, but now there are 5 layers. So in addition to those, we now have a complete muscle layer, and we also have a complete circulatory system as well. And then on top of that, we used to have the blood splats that used to appear on screen were just like little 2D special effect features, but we now have 3D mesh for the actual blood particles as well. So as the bullet is travelling through what are now 5 layers, you know, there's a lot more insight into what is happening, but also the 3D blood is actually just tying the whole lot together a whole load better. So it's you know, we knew that it was one of the big features. We knew it was one of the big things that people were excited about in V2, and you know, we don't want to rest on our laurels. And so, you know, we've reworked it, revisited it in quite a major way.
People seem mainly interested in shooting Hitler in the testicle.
That was a big draw, yes.
Are we getting next-gen testicles?
They are still present, yes.
So, there you go, an Outside Xbox exclusive, next generation testicles. Where's my Pulitzer? First impressions of the game are that it's perhaps not as immediately stunning as some of the other Xbox One titles we've seen, though it's obviously being made for Xbox 360 as well. Rebellion might dollop on an extra layer of next-gen post-processing slap before release, and they have pinky promised it'll be 1080p on next-gen, including Xbox One. It's also worth mentioning that there's full campaign co-op thanks to the more open maps, which I rather like the idea of, both getting set up at opposite ends of the map and coordinating either a mercilessly efficient attack or, more likely, a complete shambles.
Those speakers could hide my shot.
So that's a first look at Sniper Elite 3. Be sure to order your adult diaper for delivery by an ever so vague release date of mid-2014.